Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So the case, if I can get it into frame. Oh. This is the Dark Flash DLM 21 Black. It's got this cool design on the front here. It's like textured 3D, so that's really cool. Oh, we'll open that up in a minute. And back to the parts. Our processor is a Intel the light a little less bright. Intel Core i3 9100F. This is, a low-end processor, but it's all that we're gonna need. 4 cores for this this budget gaming PC. Sorry. And then to hold it, we have a B365 motherboard from Gigabyte. This is the DS3H. That's going to be perfect. This is one of the most budget boards out there, but has plenty. Switch Howard. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Let me know if you can hear me all right. How's it going? Just bought computer parts for your brother. Well, that's fun. Are you building it for him? Is he building it? What's going on there? Alright, continuing through here, we've got the GeForce GTX 980 from EVGA. This is a bit of an older card, but this was from the person who commissioned this computer to be built. They had this around and wanted to use it in the build, so that is what we're using. i3 is more middle like i5. True, I guess if you want to really consider low end, that would be like a Celeron or something, but I guess in terms of, what most people are using for a gaming PC modern day, this is probably on the low end, but still, this is a good processor. This is going to be perfect. 4 cores is all you really need to get into gaming. You're building it? Very nice. Well, hopefully you can get some cool tips from the stream, so be cool. Rhino BTW, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Power supply is a EVGA 600 watt. This was also from the person that I'm building this for, and it's 80 plus white, lowest efficiency rating, but I've used this power supply before. Actually had I've used a lot of EVGA power supplies and they're perfectly fine. Kinda got the ketchup and mustard cables going on, but that's alright. That's what you get out of budget. Then we've got some cool RGB fans for cooling. That's gonna make it look real nice. And then finally for storage, we have this 512 gig, solid state drive. So that's gonna be super good. No need to buy a hard drive when you have 500 gigs of solid state storage. That's enough for the majority of people, especially if you're just playing a few games. So we're going to start with the case. So I'm gonna clear all this stuff away, and we're gonna get our case set up, which means putting the fans in and putting the power supply in. That's where I like to start, personally. Get that out of the way. Get this box open, get the case out. I've built in this case a couple times now and it is awesome. I love this case. It comes in at $55, which is pretty reasonable for a case, and I have no issues with it. Everything about it is great. that your setup you just showed? No, it is not. If, hold on a second. You're talking about this. That is not my setup. That is actually my old computer, which I use for when friends come over. My actual setup is, don't mind the blinding light. Here's my actual setup where I'm streaming from right now. Triple monitors, PCs on the right, all that good stuff. There we go. Alright, what's going on? My PC I built and use is an NTX Guardian for 65 at the time. I love it. Very cool. Rhino BTW, huge question. My motherboard crapped out on me and I'm looking to buy a new one. What's a good motherboard that will best support an RTX 2080 Ti? Well, what's your CPU? Because that will be the big determining factor into picking a new motherboard, because not every CPU, or not every motherboard supports every CPU. But in reality, pretty much any motherboard will support any graphics card, so you can do anything. For this build, I'm using this Gigabyte motherboard, B365M DS3H. It's the cheapest motherboard in this chipset, and one of the cheaper in this socket. It's relatively bare bones, but still does a lot. So I mean, even that would be fine. But if you have a 2080 Ti, you're probably gonna want something a little more feature rich. So like I said, it depends what processor you have. Alright, so here's our case. Let me show the front a little better. So this is actually a like 3D textured front panel, which is really cool. And then air intake from the front is on the side here. And then it's a magnetic door here. So it just closes, attaches magnetically. Super awesome. You have a Ryzen 5 3600X. Well, my personal favorite motherboard is from ASRock. That'd be the... Well, okay, so it kind of depends. Since it's a third generation, you should get an X570 chipset motherboard if you want things to be easiest. But if you want to save some money, you could get a B450 motherboard, which was the previous generation. The CPU still fits in the socket, still works. But make sure you find one that is Ryzen 3000 ready. Listings might not be super specific on that online, but you can look around for that, read reviews and stuff. For example, my motherboard is an ASRock, that's ASRock, and I believe their B450 board, all of them probably, currently come shipped with compatibility with the Ryzen 3000 series. But again, reading reviews, personally my favorite is the ASRock Steel Legend B450. I have the Pro 4 model, which is perfectly good. It's a budget board and I use it for a lot of stuff, but I have a Ryzen 7 3700X in there. Protein Shake GG, welcome to the chat. How's it going? I've always liked Gigabyte boards. Yes, the Gigabyte B450 DS3H will be probably Ryzen 3000 ready. Again, they've updated them if they're brand new ones, but it's still technically possible you could get one that is not ready. Anyways, let's continue on with this build. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to lay it down. Mass War, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. How you doing? I think this panel can screw off, so I'm going to do that. I don't want to have to deal with this big glass panel open this whole time. Does that case come with fans? It does not come with fans. That's definitely a downside. But a lot of cases do come with a rear fan installed and nothing else, which, you know, is something. I usually like to have at least 3 fans, which is how many we're putting in this. This has a tray in the front for 2 fans, then a place in the back for 1. Then you could put 2 on the top, but I'm not going to do that. That 5 is, you know, fine, but it's kind of overkill in most cases. But yeah, this case does not come with a fan pre-installed, unfortunately. That is the one downside, but I do like everything else about this case. Aesthetics, functionality, size. It's a micro ATX case, which is what I build most of my computers. You know what? I didn't have to take off these hinges, did I? They just pop out. I'm an idiot. Alright, we're gonna put those back. And then just slide out the door. But the hinges do not need to come off. I'm just going to slide that out, and there we go. Set that aside somewhere. Alright, screw that back in. Thanks to all you guys who have showed up in the stream already. Really appreciate that. Let me know how you're doing and how you got here. Next we're going to take off excuse me, this back panel, because there's a bag of screws and stuff, and we'll be doing a fair bit of work here in the back of the case. I'll try to make this part go fast because this is the boring part, getting the case ready. So let me know if the stream is lagging at all. I'm having some weird internet issues lately. I don't think I've dropped any frames though. Actually, yes I have. I've dropped a bunch of frames, but it doesn't seem to be too bad. Alright, this comes with an instruction manual, which we will be looking at. And here's our bag of parts, which we're going to need. And all of our case cables, which I'm going to set aside for now. Let's tie those back up. Now if we had a hard drive cage down here, but we're just using a single solid state drive, which will probably mount back here. So let's start with the power supply, since that is already outside of a box. Installing a power supply is super easy. They have a fan on one side, and if you have a grate on the bottom of your case, you're going to put that fan down. And then our cable is going to go inside. And just slide that in. Then there'll be 4 screws to screw it in, and this came with screws. Just have to grab them. Okay. So we'll just take these 4 screws and secure the power supply. Get one of these in, line it up. Maybe. It's a little weird having to aim this at the camera. Not the optimal position. Alright, there we go. Got one in, which means the rest will be easier. step 1 done. It's pretty easy. First part is installed in the case. And of course, we'll deal with all these cables later. Now, I might have to read the manual for this one. No, I don't. There's this tray in the front where fans go, and it pops out, which I didn't realize the first time I built it in this case, until later. So now I'm going to remember to unscrew it and take it out and mount the fans to it. Which is super convenient. One of the best parts about this case, for sure. Set this aside. Here's that tray. The fans go on the case side, I believe. It's also something I messed up last time. Here are our fans. There's 3 RGB fans that look pretty nice. Fans are some of the most annoying things to install. They have 4 screws that aren't already threaded. Easiest way to know what direction fans go is that the logo side is the intake, and on the kind of ugly side with all the information is the outtake. So this is going to go like this. It's going to pull in air from the front. We're going to mount like so. So we have to screw in the back. We want to make sure that our cables are going towards the back of the case. So I'm going to set it up like that. Open up our bag of screws. Get installing. It's going to look super nice. Yeah, these are hard to screw in because they're not pre-threaded. So these are pretty cheap fans. It's like $20 for a 3-pack, but they got rubber on the feet, which is super nice. So they shouldn't rattle around too much at all. Really like that. Alright, final screw on the first fan. Get those nice and tight in there so they don't shake around at all. Not quite lined up perfectly though. There we go. It's a little hard to tighten these perfectly because the rubber kind of blows up. Alright, that's that. Nice. First fan is mounted. Let's get that second one on there. This is probably one of the easier fan installations I've done, that's for sure. Every time you build a PC, it gets a little bit faster. Specs. Yeah, so I went through them at the beginning, but I don't think anyone was here yet. This budget PC, it was a special commission from a client. They had a graphics card already and a power supply already. So the graphics card is a 980 just a regular 980, GTX 980 from EVGA. Bit of an older card, but you know, it's solid, and it was something they had around already and wanted to use in this build, so that's what I'm using. And then to match it, we have a 4-core Intel i3 9100F. Seems like a good match for something like that. That's going in a Gigabyte B450 motherboard. And we have 16 gigs of RAM those were supposed to get delivered to me yesterday, but they did not. So for now, I'm just going to put in a stick of RAM to make sure the computer turns on. But there's going to be a 16 gigabyte kit of RAM in there. Nothing special about it. And then we got a 512 gigabyte SSD, a 600 watt power supply, and these RGB fans, which we just got 2 of them installed on here. So I'm gonna get this back in the case. Oops, what am I stuck on here? Stuck on cables. Slides on alright. Sometimes it's hard to perfectly line it up. There we go. Perfect. I didn't lose the screws. Yeah, so this isn't gonna be a, you know, insane PC by any stretch of the imagination, but it's gonna get the job done. I think it's for a teenager, you know, first PC basically, and it's gonna be awesome for that. The GTX 980 is no slouch, even though it's a bit older now. It used to be a flagship graphics card. Okay, those seem good. These 3 fans all connect to a controller hub. It's gonna go in the back. Excuse me, getting over a cold or something. This last fan mounts to the back. I think, yeah, let's run the cable up like that. So I'll open up our screws. And again, logo is on the intake side, so that's going to be inside the case. Alright. Where's our screw hole? Oh, this one's broken. I didn't realize that. Oh my god. Is that broken in the box? Did I do that? Wow, it was broken in the box. That's amazing. RGB for more FPS, that's exactly correct. Alright, so what am I gonna do? Super glue is the answer. Oh, that sucks. I don't exactly have time to get a new set of fans, but I don't think anything's gonna go wrong, so that's a disappointment. I'll put a little super glue on this bad boy. That's rough. Jesus. I don't know if that's gonna stay. Now I need to wipe my hands off. But yeah, that sucks. That must have broken off in the box, but I think in the end it'll be okay. Alright, so we'll plug in the rest of the fans, the rest of the corners, but not that one yet. will be very, very gentle. It is super disappointing. Come on, I said super gentle. Luckily, we don't really need all 4, but this still kind of sucks. I don't think that's going to stick. Dang. Yeah, that really sucks. But, like I said, we don't need all 4, technically. 3 will be plenty. It's just the principle of the matter. It's just crazy that they're that breakable, though. It's good to know. Like, I would like to buy these again in the future, but it's gonna be a problem, and I don't want to. This one screwed in as much as we can. And yeah, that's not going anywhere. That's still perfectly stable. We'll end up routing that up there. Alright, now it is motherboard time. Try to get these cables out of the way. Alright, that should be out of the way enough. Less 5 FPS. Yep, we're gonna get less frames now. The RGB will still work, so that's alright. Alright, so here's our Gigabyte motherboard, SATA cables. Use the box as a building bench. Alright, there we go. Good looking board. And there wasn't necessarily room in the budget for another cooler. I'm not a fan of the Intel stock cooler. It sucks, but we will be using it. It should be fine on an i3. I don't think this thing's going to be pushing too hard. Here is our processor, i3-9100F. And the included cooling solution, which is a kind of ugly fan. Yeah, not a fan. That is a fan. I'm not a fan. Okay, let me get the temporary stick of RAM that we're going to use, just so I can show it being installed. Office? No, this is not for an office. This is going to be a budget gaming PC. The i3-9100F is still a solid PC for a budget gaming rig, though. It's 4 cores, which is the perfect amount for most gaming. Unless you're streaming or something, you really don't need more than that. So this is going to be perfectly fine. And we're pairing it with a GTX 980 that the client already had, which is going to be a pretty good match. One of the rare times I didn't go with AMD, but I think there was a good price or something. So here's our processor. There's this little gold triangle on this corner. And we're going to match it up with the triangle on the motherboard, which is this big gray one. So it's going to go right in there like that. Just going to drop it in, and it sits in perfectly. Easy. And then we just slide this plate back on. Kind of put a lot of pressure on it, which is always scary, but it's not bad. And then one of the things I hate about this cooler is that a lot of coolers, it'll screw into the board to a plate in the back, but this just has little like retention clips on it, and it's the worst. So we're just gonna line those all up in the holes, and they all just push in. I will say this is an easy to install cooler, if nothing else. And then I think turn them to lock them in place, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, that like unlocked it, that's weird. Okay, that's locked in. And then for some reason the cord isn't long enough to actually plug in when it's wrapped around like this, so we have to undo this cord and wrap it around this way, plug it into the CPU fan connector, which is up here on the top. But yeah, installing the CPU is, you know, you gotta be really careful when you're doing it, but honestly, once you've done it a couple times, it's pretty straightforward. It's really nice. You just kind of get it in correctly and you're good to go. And then here's our stick of RAM. This is not going to be what's gonna be in the PC, but just to install something. Like I said, the RAM has not arrived yet, even though it was supposed to come yesterday. So we open up these tabs. See if I can get this a little closer. So I open up these tabs and then line up the RAM. One of these gold sides is shorter than the other. Make sure we get it in right. Line it up, push down. And we'll click in. And we got it. So we're just going to temporarily have that stick in. And now our motherboard is done. It's ready to be put into the case, and we can connect other things to it. But first we need the back plate, which goes on the case. It's right here. I don't think we need any of these instructions. Yeah, we're good to go. So I'll set the box aside. Open up the back plate. Just a basic silver back plate here. Let's get the camera back up. So you'll want to line up the audio jacks here. You can see there, it kind of fits in like that. So we're going to make sure that the case lines up the same way. These are kind of annoying to put in, but you just slot in one side and then kind of push around evenly on all the sides until it clicks into place everywhere. Which sometimes can take a few attempts. Is that all in? Okay, I think we're good. So now we can lay the case down, which is a little difficult considering all the cords that we have back there. That doesn't have to be perfect. And then this does just drop in, but I think we're gonna have to put a couple additional connectors here. Actually, I think we're good to go. Yeah. Actually have all we need in here. Alright, cool. Or, yeah. Awesome. So there's 4 standoffs in here. I don't think I'll be able to show the installation super well, but I'll do my best. Try to move the camera over here if possible. So there's 4 standoffs that align to this hole, this hole, this hole, and this hole. Oh, I can't really see that. We're just going to gently line everything up, make sure no wires get stuck. Line it up with the back plate. And there we go. That was easy. Now we just get into the bag of screws that came with the case. And there'll be some smaller screws in here that screw the motherboard into the case itself. So we're gonna grab 4 of those guys. Screw them in. And our motherboard will be perfectly secured. Before I screw too much in, I just realized that the graphics card is going to go here, and these plates need to be popped out permanently, I believe. Not every case is like that. This one appears to be, I think. Yeah. It looks like we're going to be using the top 2 slots. Let me just get these out before we go too far with the motherboard. Oh, yeah, we might have to take the motherboard out unless I can jimmy this well enough. There we go. Got him. I get the next one. I always forget about this because in a lot of cases they're just removable and not something that you have to throw away and not to be able to add back in. Not that it matters, because you're probably never going to put them back. Come on. Don't make me take out the motherboard for this one. It was so easy to put in the first time. Oh, there we go. Almost. So close. There we go. Whew. That was difficult. Okay, now we can finish screwing this in. lined up a little better. Here we go. Can't be too afraid to shove it around gently. Come on. Last screw. We could have we could have 6 in here, but this is gonna be plenty. And there we go. Got our motherboard in. That was easy. Now, some might think the next step is to put the graphics card in, but that is far from the truth. We have to connect all this stuff before even thinking about that. The last part to install is the SSD, which is a 2.5-inch SSD that we have to screw to the case, as opposed to an M.2, which goes directly on the motherboard. Those are more expensive, so when I'm doing all of these builds, which are budget, I usually have to go with these guys. This one had a $400 budget, but the power supply and the graphics card were already owned, so that was not factored into the budget, which helped a lot. Even with that though, still challenging to meet that budget. So we're probably going to put this hidden in the back. Okay, so we're probably going to put that here. Let's find our SATA cable first, so we actually consider the cabling. Can probably use the straight on one. So let's sit like that. Oh yeah, and then we can just run this cable directly through this hole, right? Yeah, that'll be perfect. Awesome. Let's get these cables out of the way. We're going to need to screw this in. Guess just these screws should be fine. Try to make sure you guys can see this. These pads I put down are not working out too well. There we go. We're just going to match up the screw holes if we can find them. There we go. Is this the one build? Yeah, this is the first build of 2. Hopefully I have time for both tonight. This one's going pretty well so far, although this, I think, is the wrong screw. Everyone's relatively similar though. I do use different parts, but it's pretty much the same thing. There we go. Let's see if I can adjust this. There we go. Oh yeah, this will be difficult. I might have to undo the fans in order to put this in. Undo the fan tray, which is much easier than undoing all the fans, of course. can't really reach the SSD tray. But that'll be super easy in this case. So I'm not concerned. Just gonna set that down. Then we can finish screwing in the SSD now that we have space. Now, that is the hardest part about PC builds, is that you'll find yourself undoing things a lot, having to redo them, just because you didn't realize something had to be done in a very specific order. It can be really annoying, but it's part of the fun, learning from mistakes. Almost screwed in. A little hard to reach these screw holes though. Alright. Now we can put these fans back on. Not too bad. Okay, now comes the extra fun part of plugging everything in. This is the worst part of any build because it takes a while. But we have a pretty clear idea of where everything's going to go. And there's just a matter of cable management. I don't know if I'm going to set it over there. So the first one is the motherboard cover, because that's the biggest one. There's really only one place that it can go. And that's this guy. 24-pin motherboard power. It's going to go right here onto the motherboard. And it's terrible to take out. It's not easy sometimes. It likes to stay in. So hopefully we don't have to remove it for any reason. Alright, that wasn't pretty easy. Let's do CPU power next. There we go. 8-pin CPU power. And that comes up in this corner. There's a convenient hole right here. And luckily this case has lots of room on the top, which we're not using because we're not putting fans up there, so normally this is pretty cramped, but it's super easy to plug this in this case. It's the fastest I've ever done that, that's for sure. This is going great already. This is going to plug into SATA, which, where is SATA number 1? There it is, or SATA number 0, I guess. It's right here. So I'm going to plug that in, get rid of some of this excess cable, pull it into the back. I'll figure out exactly where to put that later. Cable management is hard as fuck. Yes, it is. This case is pretty good for cable management, and we have this giant power supply shroud that covers the entire thing, which is awesome. but it's just kind of a bitch plugging everything in. Next up is the graphics card power. The graphics card isn't in yet, but we're going to route the power for it. So that'll just come through there. And then we need SATA for our SSD. I'm going to save that till the end. And bring in the front panel connections. Where's our USB 3? Right there. So USB 3 is the biggest one, so I'm going to do that one first. That's right here on the motherboard. So I'm going to bring it in through here, I guess. There we go. And then line it up with the notches and just pop it in like that. Not too bad. Easy. I'll deal with the slack later. And then the rest can probably come through these two holes. Let's do the audio jack first. That one is a little farther away. So we'll bring in that one through this hole down here. And then this is the front audio right here. So we just line up the pins and plug it in like that. Takes a little pressure. And that's lined up. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Not too bad. And then we just have our power button and stuff, and then USB. Where's our USB? Oh, right there. Okay, perfect. So actually, we're going to send USB to the same place as we sent the audio. So it just connects right here. Boom. Easy. Nice. Looking good. Then we have our annoying front panel connections. We'll just go through this hole here. If I can get them to stay together. That'll work. And then we get better eyes so we can see. So the top one is LED, which are the two tiny ones, plus and minus. Plus on the left, minus on the right. And HDD should be under it. Yep. HDD LED goes right under it. In this case, the text on these little pins go down. And power should be on top and reset should be on the bottom. Yes. Alright, reset on the bottom. Power on the top. Boom. God, I think this is the fastest I've done cabling in a long time. This is going super smooth, which is awesome. Probably because I'm talking everything out. Alright, let's flip this around. Move that a little closer. closer. There we go. You can see that all right. So we don't need this Molex, and we don't need both of these SATA. We just need one of them. Actually, we will need Molex, I think. But this we just need to plug in to our drive for power. And the rest of this we can cable manage out of the way at some point. Let's go ahead and grab our control box for the lights and get those plugged in. So here's our little control box. It's got a place for all the fans and for light strips, which is cool. So yeah, it does use it uses Molex power. That's fine. I can plug in pretty much anywhere. We don't have any light strips, so that's fine. This can probably go there. Oh yeah, it's magnetic, which is super nice. Let's just go ahead and bring in the cables for those so we can see how much range we have. OMG? What's up? What you OMGing about? This amazing rat's nest of cables. That won't be like that for long. Oh, these are super long. This will be great. We didn't even need to undo these. Nice. Plug these into the control box and then kind of see where the best place to put it is. I love that it's magnetic. We don't have to use an adhesive strip or anything like that. I guess it's easiest if we should we do this? No, let's do it like this. Let's stay there. So it really only fits here, doesn't it? Don't love that. Alright, let's do it this way. We can route this kind of on the side, maybe. Build a wife. I already have a wife. I don't need to build one. Yes, this box is magnetic, so it sticks to the case without any sort of adhesive or anything like that. Alright, so we're going to connect this with Molex. Try to plan this out well. Okay, everything should be connected. We just have to plug in our graphics card and sort of fix this up a little bit. Which hopefully is not too challenging. So we can wrap this up pretty nicely. Yeah, let's go like that and grab the zip tie that came with it. I'll do it for now. Okay. So we can definitely wrap up some of these cables. Let's go ahead and do that now. Yeah, we're gonna need the zip ties. Try to get some of these big ones out of the way at least first. Okay. Hopefully, I don't think this control box is too thick, so that should be fine. I think these cables are gonna be in the way though. Okay, let me undo these and then maybe I can flip it around. This is a little tight. Let's do that. Maybe we can tie these all together a little bit. Always fun. Let's just tie these like this for now. And we'll tie these up. Like this. And we'll tie this one back up. Okay, those are at least out of the way now. This mullet should be able to just go along here. Perfect. I always like to tuck that in there. And that will probably end up zip tying. This one will definitely need to zip tie. I'm just not quite sure where. Probably right here. Let's just commit to that right now. that'll at least hold that there. And we got lots of room to stuff some of these extra cables, which is perfect. So we can stuff this extra SATA into the hard drive cage we won't be using. We'll do the same with this one. And these front panel connectors, let's send those through here, and we'll zip tie those right down there. Perfect. Nice. And these are just kind of stuck there by tension, so that's fine. Those should be out of the way enough. And we'll zip tie this guy. Smart, I would unplug these and route them differently, so I'm going to do that. I should go over this, not under. Unplug the audio. That up through there as well. Much better. If that just sits in there, that'll be perfect. Alright, that should be good. Let's go ahead and plug in our graphics card. And we'll be able to finish up the cable management. But yeah, this was pretty straightforward. Very nice. So recapping, here is our GTX 980 from EVGA. So we're just going to line that up with this slot here. Boom, right in. Now we just need a couple screws to secure it in place. Should be the right screws. I think. Shouldn't be the smaller ones. Beast. Seriously though. Get these nice and tight in here. Make sure we get this bracket back on as well. Finish screwing it in. what's going on here. I did have to kind of bend this card back because it was this bracket anyways. It was used and it was pretty badly bent, but it should be fine now. I already put it into my main computer to test it out. Oh, there we go. That's about as in as it can be. Seems stable. The graphics card uses two 6-pin power connections. So we're just going to plug these bad boys in like this. Pull this excess cable through. Alright, now it's the moment of truth. We try to put the back panel back on. This is the only thing I'm worried about, this giant cord here. But it's a little hard to control exactly where it goes. This guy is in the way, but can't really do much about that. He was staying down alright. I kind of need another zip tie, but there's not really anywhere to put it. Be able to put enough pressure on this panel. Should put it into a good place. There we go. Is that attached? Maybe. How does this? How does this thing attach? There we go. Easy. We got there. Alright, our side panel is on. Alright, just making sure everything looks good, everything is plugged in. Yeah, it's about as good as it gets. Okay. Let's close it up and try turning it on. I could get a monitor to make sure that it posts, but that would require a bit of setup. I don't really have room on this desk for it, so I'm just going to trust it. We'll leave the plastic on. There she is. Looks pretty good. Try to get the camera far enough back. And I'll grab a power cable. So plug in the back of the power supply. I have a power strip down below the desk here. Alright, ready? Well, I need to turn on the power supply. Alright, now are we ready? Hey, there we go. Might start up a couple times before it figures itself out. Oh, that looks nice. There we go. Now the remotes in these things can be a little difficult. Oh. Turned off. Now let's turn it back on. Hopefully that means everything's okay. Well, I don't know if the remote works or not, because I had a little trouble with it when I tested one of these. Yeah, there it is. It even has white on the fans to match the graphics card. Yes, it is alive and kicking. It's awesome. Let's push an air, real nice. Open it up. Fans are all working. Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I will install Windows and all that stuff later. But yeah, we made a functioning computer. Claps in the chat. Now on number 2. Okay, I'll figure out. Okay, this is not magnetic. I'll figure out that remote later. It's kind of odd. It'd be kind of dumb to put it, like, visible in the case, but not sure if that's what it wants from me. I'm just going to pack up some of these things. Throw away any trash. Alright, I'm going to move this PC out of the way and then we can start build number 2. Metal Leopard! PC number 1 down. Yeah, looks good. Yes, I did plan on doing both builds tonight, unless it's too late and need me to come to bed. That one only took like an hour, a little more, hour and 20 minutes. can at least get started on this next one, connect everything, but not necessarily plug everything in and do the cable management. Alright, so the case for this one is the Antec VSK10. I have not built in it before, but it seems like a good case. It's got a clear side panel and everything. I think it's pretty similar to that last one. Our processor is a Ryzen 5 2600, 6-core, 12-thread. Might go to sleep in like an hour or so. Well, I'll probably be done in an hour. Our graphics card is used, and it's a RX 570, a lower end modern graphics card, but it's going to get the job done. We have the ASRock B450M Pro 4 motherboard. I mentioned earlier when someone asked about what motherboard would be good for their Ryzen 5 3600. This is the thing to look for on a B450 board. Ryzen 3000 ready. This B450, that chipset as it is, doesn't work by default with Ryzen 3000. It's made for Ryzen 2000. But some of them are shipping now with Ryzen 3000 ready. So we got that. We have the same RGB fans we just used. We have 32 gigabytes of RAM, two 16 gigabyte sticks from Oloy, which is a brand that has come onto the scene pretty recently but seems to make really good products. We have the same 512 gigabyte SSD for our storage. And then we have a 500 watt bronze rated power supply from EVGA. And lastly, we have this Wi-Fi card, which is a step above like a USB Wi-Fi stick, because it's got this whole heat sink and big antennas and stuff. So the client for this one wanted good Wi-Fi, and this will provide it. So let's go ahead and let's do the motherboard first this time, just so we get that out of the way. I think we've owned enough of the case for a little while. So let's do it in reverse order this time. Alright, try to get this camera a little closer. That'll do. This is the motherboard I have in my computer. I have my Ryzen 7 3700X in this. I love this motherboard. It's really good quality for the price. It's about $75, which is pretty cheap for a motherboard. And has some great features on it as well. So we'll start with the CPU. We'll lift up the retention clip and open up this guy. It also comes with its own stock cooler with pre-applied thermal paste, but unlike the Intel one, this is actually a good cooler. And it's plenty for this chip. So here's our AMD chip here we'll be using. And cooler in the box, which we'll leave for now. And we'll take out the processor. And do the scariest but easiest part. We'll find the triangle on the CPU. It's here, and on the motherboard it's here. Done this enough times, I know the Ryzen logo is, red from this direction. So we'll just drop it in. Sure not to do anything with any pins. All right, it lays in there perfectly, and we'll close the retention clip. And these things right here are brackets, which some coolers use. This one does not. So we actually are going to unscrew this. Take these off. I will keep them in the box so that the future owner of this PC can use them if they ever get a cooler that does use these brackets. But usually it's just the Ryzen 7s that come with a beefier cooler. For some reason they use these brackets rather than screwing directly into the board. So that's why they include them. This board is good for overclocking, so I might overclock this a little bit for the client. Not that they're going to need it too badly, but it helps. This cooler will overclock a little bit. And the AMD logo goes to the left of the motherboard. Done this enough times that I know that as well. So we just line up with these screw holes. And we're going to give each of these like a half turn each just to get it in. And X formation. Makes a kind of a grinding sound because they're spring loaded. Okay, I think those are all in. We'll just give them a few more turns, make sure they're securely fastened. Now we can hold on to the motherboard by the cooler, give it a shake, securely on there. Looks good, no thermal paste splatting everywhere like last time I built the PC. That was annoying. Then we plug into the CPU fan header. And tuck this cord out of the way as best as possible. There we go. Now we'll actually install the actual kit of RAM that's going to go in this. I would think AMD would just include the brackets on the beefier coolers instead of having all manufacturers include them. Yeah, right? I'm not sure if there's any aftermarket coolers that use those. There must be, but like, I don't know. It's a weird choice to not include them just with the processors that, or with the coolers that use them. Alright, each of these sticks are individually packaged for some reason. There we go. So here is our Oloy RAM. Looks pretty nice. I like this design. It's simple but cool. This is kind of the latest RAM brand to show up on the scene. I did some reading into them, and they've actually been around for a while under a different name, basically making RAM for other people. So they've been around a long time, but their name has not. But they seem to make good RAM for a pretty cheap price. I like the look of it too. So we're going to take slots 2 and 4. Those are the ones that you go with first. That's just how it is. Line up the notches and slot it in. Give them a good push. These are going to look really good on this motherboard too because they're black. melds nicely with the gray and black color scheme. Alright. Nice. Looks good. I like that. It's not RGB, but it looks nice. And there's our motherboard done. Easy. Alright, let's quickly get the case ready. Set these things aside for now. Ojo? No. Oloy. Here's the logo on the box. O-L-O-Y. And I'm not sure exactly why the Y is not capitalized, but they have like an owl thing, so I think they're like going for an owl face, I guess, with the two big O's. I don't know. It's weird. I have no idea. Out of the way. Alright, here's our case. Let me back up the camera a little bit. As you can see, it kind of looks similar to the one we just built in. Has a closed front panel, but it looks pretty slick. It's got these vents on the side, and then clear side panel. This one does have a fan pre-installed, but we're not going to be using it, I don't think. Actually, you know what? We probably will, because I think we can fit 3 fans on the front, and we have 3 fans, so I might just do that. So we'll take off the side panel, which just has these 4 thumb screws. I think this might be acrylic, yeah, this is acrylic, not tempered glass, which is fine. This is also a 55, no, actually maybe this was like 45. This is an even cheaper case, which is pretty nice. And let's take the back off. It uses the same thumb screws as the other case did. Sorry. And this one, the front panel actually comes off to deal with the fans. It's always fun. Ugh. Always a fun sound, but you gotta apply some force. Oh. And we have a little box in the hard drive tray, which we won't be using. It has all of our screws and stuff in it. You like this one? Yeah, this is the Antec VSK10. Goes for about $45 US, and it's a good one. I like it. This is my first time building in it. The previous case from Dark Flash, I have built in that one a couple times now. And I like that one as well, but this one's a little less gamer, I would say. So let's go ahead and start with the fans. Actually, I'm not going to make the mistake again. Let's start with the SSD. So always install the fans in the front and then forget that I won't be able to reach the SSD screw holes. There's our SSD. I'm just going to take this front panel off. If I can. Oh, it's zip tied. Twist tied, I mean. Okay, that'll be easier. So I'm going to want to put that right here. I could put it in the front, but I might as well put it in the back. Did the other one in the back. Not really doesn't really make a big difference either way. And screwdriver. Oops, missed a screw. Need to go? Alright. Mass War, thank you so much for joining the stream. Appreciate you hanging out and being active in the chat. That's awesome. You rock. I hope you enjoyed the computer builds. Good luck. Yeah, I will probably need it. Because something is always bound to go wrong. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. Appreciate it. Alright, let's get this SSD in here. See the video later? Yeah. It will be... The VOD will be up on the channel. Hopefully not muted for copyrighted music or anything. So both these builds are using a 512 gigabyte solid state drive from Silicon Power. Is the name of the brand. They seem fine. Not amazing, not bad. And they just happen to be the cheapest by a couple bucks at the time. Kind of shifts between brands every once in a while. But at the time of buying this, this was the most budget conscious at, I think, $52 for 512 gigs, which is pretty solid. SSD prices are good right now. As well as RAM prices. RAM prices are amazing. That 32 gigabyte kit of RAM, I think, was under $110. And if you go with a slower speed, you can get for $100 from Olaway, or YOLO backwards. I think that's secure. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Okay. This case is really light. Must be just like cheap aluminum or something, but it feels well built also. So I don't know what to say about that. We'll open up the fans. so I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. So I can put all three in the front. It's not a big deal because the front panel is not see-through. So it's really up to, do I want to put 2 in the front and 1 in the back, replacing this fan? Or do I want to put 3 in the front and use this already pre-installed fan? I kind of want to do that for maximum airflow. I mean, 3 fans in the front is ridiculous. That's a lot. But probably not a bad idea. I'll at least start with these and see where we go from there. Start with these top 2, which I believe will mount inside the case like this, not outside the case. Try to position this so you guys can see it. About like that, and then I'll raise the camera a little bit. There we go. Easy. Best part about holding 2 computers back to back is that I realized some of the simple mistakes that I made in the first time, and I will not make them in the second build. I think I'm going to remember to take out these PCI brackets that snap off before I put the motherboard in. At least I'm going to try to remember that. So it's possible that the RGB fans did not work in the previous build because of the battery in the remote. I opened up one of the boxes to test it. I guess that was this one, not the other one. But the battery in the remote seemed to not work, which I think was because it was against the magnet of the control box, which is ridiculous. I think that's what happened. So I replaced it. So I think I might just have to replace the battery in the other remote to make those work. It's also possible that the signal can't travel through the metal of the computer, which would be really stupid. But I think they would have a bad rating on Amazon if that was the case, and they have a good rating on Amazon. So I don't think there's any signal issue, just a battery issue. Do I need to raise this fan a little bit on this side? That should be better. Come on, screw in. It's the downside of them not being pre-threaded. Also, it doesn't really line up. If I was smart. If I was smart, I would do the bottom one first. But I'm not smart, so I didn't. Now I'm going to. This may also determine whether I can even put a bank of 3 here. I'll try to fit them in and see what happens. No, I can't. I think it might be because of the rubber bumpers, possibly, but yeah, it looks like it actually will not fit 3. Huh. Really? Yeah, these lines are not super great. Yeah, I have it up at the very top, it looks like. Let me adjust these screws a little bit, see if I can make room or not. It looks like we will be installing one in the back. Unless that adjustment was enough. Ooh, okay. Maybe we're fine. Okay, yeah, we're good. There was like a millimeter of space that I just added that apparently was enough. Somehow. Alright, 3 in the front, 1 in the back. There we go. Figured it out. It's gonna be a tight fit, of course. This would be good if we had a hard drive that provides some airflow over the hard drive, this bottom fan, but we don't, so it's not really that big of a deal. But it'll look cool, I guess. That's something. Of course, it's all going to be covered from the front, but viewing through the side panel should look nice. I want to say there's a ring of light on the CPU cooler that can be customized, I believe. But I think that's all the RGB that there's going to be. This is not going to be primarily a gaming computer. It's actually mostly for like stock trading, I think, which is kind of funny, amongst things. But the guy also wanted to do some gaming, be able to do various things on this system. So it's a processor with 6 cores to handle multiple programs, and then a decent graphics card as well to handle some light gaming. I'm using an RX 570, 4GB, I believe, which I bought used on eBay. Tested it, runs perfectly fine, exactly as I would expect it to. I think he just said he wants to play like Civilization 5 and stuff like that, which aren't too crazy to run. Make sure these are all tight enough. Looks good. And we are able to go ahead and close up the panel, but I'm going to put in the power supply first. This one does not have ketchup and mustard cables. This one has black cables. So it's going to look a little nicer. This is a 500 watt power supply, which is plenty for this system. Maybe more than enough. But certainly don't need any more than this. I think 500 watts is good for just about any PC that isn't like overclocking heavily and running a 2080 Ti and all that crazy stuff. So we're just gonna slide it in here, line it up, make sure the fan is pointing down because we do have a vent in the bottom. And we'll just find, oh, power supply came with 4 screws to plug it in with. get it secured in place. There we go. Now this power supply shroud, unlike the other one, does not fully shroud the power supply, so we still see this label here. I don't know exactly why cases have that. Maybe because there's some power supplies that have little LCD screens on the side, but that seems like a niche scenario. I don't know why. I would rather have it be fully covered, personally. But that's okay. It covers all the cable mess, which is the most important part, in my opinion. And last one, last but not least. Perfect. I'm going to route all these fan cables into the back of the case before we get the motherboard in. I think I can wrap them kind of down through here. Yeah, there we go. I'll tie this one. Perfect. Go ahead and bring this guy around as well. Push that through here. Perfect. All right, let's get our motherboard. So to start with, we'll take our IO shield. Audio ports on the bottom. Line it up and press it into place on all sides until it clicks in everywhere. This one's got weird brackets on it that are kind of blocking the way. There we go. Okay, we're good to go. Now we can get the motherboard. Again, I will try to bring the camera closer. Make a ton of noise along the way, of course. That's as high as we go. it, right? Alright, so we're going to line this up. I think all of our standoffs are the ones we want. Yeah, actually that's perfectly set up. Nice. We could add a couple more, but I don't think we care. This is plenty. Oh wait, literally the thing that I forgot that I was going to do. Let's bump out these things. Let me make sure which ones I need to bump out. Looks like 2 and 3. Yeah. We'll also need the top one, but that one appears to actually be permanently there. Oh, this has 2 thumb screws. Wow. Take that off. Yeah, this one already has a screw in it. This one is permanent, which is cool. It actually came with a second permanent one in case you need to plug a hole at any point, which is kind of cool. And then we just break these 2 metal ones off. It's the one downside of cheaper cases, but it's fine. 99% of the time it won't matter because you're always going to have a graphics card in these slots. You never need to replace them. Okay, now it's motherboard time. Oh, this cable is in the way. There we go. All right, get our screw bag. Get the appropriate screws we need. This one had 6 standoffs pre-installed. I'll start with this center one to get a good lock. And we'll just go around, make sure they're all lined up. Four. Yeah. Number 5. Now, it looks like this does not have a color ring around it, but maybe the AMD logo lights up. I don't know, I can't keep track of which ones are which. They have too many different coolers. I think the 2600X comes with the light, but the 2600 does not. Maybe that's it. Oh, there's much of a difference. Alright, motherboard is in. Alright, I'm going to put the case front panel back on. Route these through. And close them up. Boom. probably going to call this in just a moment, but just so that we can see what it looks like when it turns on, I'm going to hook up the bare essentials, I guess. Make sure that looks good. And then off stream, I'll do all the cable management and final testing because we already did it on the first computer. You guys saw that. It's getting late. So let's just hook up motherboard power. So it's twisty. Hook up our CPU power. Actually, now that I think about it, this fan actually plugs in right down here. What the? Sure, that's fine for now. Plug it in on the fan power. There we go. Clean up as we go. Put the screws away. Then real quick we'll grab the graphics card because we'll need that too. See what it will look like. So here's our graphics card, fan side and top side. Looks pretty good. We're just gonna slot this guy right in. Fits like a glove. Sags a lot with no supporting screw. So let's get one of those guys in. plug in some power for this. Twist it around. There we go. Now we'll plug it in, and we'll just have to we'll just short the power pins since we didn't plug in the power button, and that'll turn it on. And then we'll turn it off pretty quick. But just to see it turn on, see what it looks like. Let me lower this camera down. Alright, moment of truth time. Should be right. Let's see this one. There we go. Look at that. Rainbow puke. Everything's on. Where'd the remote go? There we go. Turn them red. Yeah. Turn them blue to match the graphics card. There we go. Nice. Got a little underglow on the front. That's cool. I don't know if you can see that, but I can't really turn the computer that much. You can kind of see that underglow right there from the fans. That's pretty cool. That's nice. Fortunately, the graphics card, I'm pretty sure, is stuck on blue. Yeah, looks good. I think that makes the most sense. But I mean, Rainbow just looks so good. And they're pretty quiet. I think this is full speed, but they have a slower. Yeah, they can go really low. Nice. Yeah, that's it. We'll connect all the important stuff off stream, but this was super good. Thanks to everyone who watched and is still watching. Appreciate it a lot. And if you're watching the video on demand later on, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for checking out these builds. It's a ton of fun. And catch my streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And occasionally on the weekend. This has been Mason Zero Gaming. Signing off. See ya.